This is Steve Zeltzer with Work Week. We're here at a rally sponsored by the labor unions on the midst of this election, threat to democracy and workers' issues. And we're with
Trent Willis, president of the International Longshore Warehouse Union, Local 10.
And Trent, why don't you talk about the issues that brought you here and what workers face in this country, what they need to do to defend themselves?
Well, what brought me here is what brings me to all labor events, that we in ILWU believe that workers from all areas, all parts of the country, all walks of life, all races, need to come together and to fight for what workers really need under a labor banner. So that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm following the guiding principles of the ILWU, and I'm connecting with workers all across the city, all across the county, all across the state, and to make our voices heard about the things that we need.
And the issue of mass unemployment, the economic crisis, evictions in Oakland, how are these issues going to be solved? It sounds like it's going to be a deadlock Congress regardless of what happens in the election, and things are going to get much worse. What should labor be doing?
Well, the first thing labor needs to do is get rid of the in-house identity politics, in-house. Because before we as a labor movement could make any changes on a grand scale level, we gotta repair the detrimental things that are happening inside of the labor movement. I think that identity politics separates us. It makes it difficult for us to put a plan together that involves all walks of life to attack what's happening on a broader scale.
And capitalism is creating a lot of havoc for people's lives. 70 million people voted for Trump. Many of those are working class people. So they didn't see anything in the Democrats. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, that's nothing new. You know, the thing is capitalism, when I talk about identity politics, the people who use capitalism to divide, they use identity politics to do that. Okay, the more you can keep workers separated and divided by identity politics, the better off our enemies are. You know, we have to get rid of the identity politics within the labor movement in order for us to be strong enough to combat what the evils in capitalism, the evil people in capitalism, the things they're using to keep us down.
Now, your local passed a resolution around the issue of preparation for a general strike against the racist attacks, against the repression, and also the Rochester Labor Council passed a resolution, the Southeast Wisconsin Madison Labor Council, the MLK Labor Council in Seattle. The last general strike was in Oakland, 1946. There was the San Francisco general strike. Do you think we need these kinds of actions again to defend working people?
Yes. I think if things continue to go down the road they're going down in this country, that we're going to need working people to stand up together and make a clear and decisive statement. But the only way to organize that, I know I keep going back to this, but the only way to organize that and to get everybody on the same page is to get rid of the identity politics inside of labor and the business unionists who want to cozy up and smooge with the bosses. We got to get rid of all of that, you know, and until we can do that, it's you know, you hear people saying that you can't go and fix somebody else's house until you fix your own house. Okay, and it's been needed in the labor movement for a long time now for unions to fight against the identity politics that's being injected into the labor movement. The one thing the ILWU understands is that it doesn't matter if you're black, white, whether you're part of the LGBTQ community, or you know you're Muslim, or if you're Catholic, we don't care. If you're a member of the ILWU, everybody's treated the same. Everybody takes advantage of the benefits that the union fights for, and we don't use identity politics within the ILWU. And I think that's why our union still stands to be strong right now. It's the reason why, as a black man right now, I'm the president of a local. You know, we have some unions that are so racist that they would never elect a black man as the president of their union or their local, which we have to get rid of that. The way that the power structure keeps control is to divide us on racial, economic, religious, all of those areas where it's a possibility for us to be divided. The power structure uses that to do that. It's done that way for a reason, because what the controllers of capitalism understand is that if working people get together and forget about those divisive lines, it's all over for them.
Are you talking about a labor party or a mass workers party?
I'm talking about a mass workers party. I'm talking about whatever it takes for us to, and a mass workers party is one of the main things that I think that we need. But when we get together and create that party or create that mass party that you're talking about, we still have to keep the identity politics out of it. We have to move forward as workers. Okay, there's a time for identity politics, and then there's a time to move forward as one. And we haven't found that in this country since the general strike here in 1934.
And Biden is talking about putting Republicans in his cabinet, unifying with the Republicans. What do you think about that?
Well, when you look at the way the Republican Party has been behaving the last 4 years, I just don't see how that's a viable stance to take. I wouldn't suggest just making an enemy out of the Republican Party, because they're there. So the way our system is set up in this country, you have to deal with the other side to get anything done. It's the same kind of politics we have in the labor movement. We have to deal with some of our more conservative union members, but we definitely have to push an agenda that is beneficial for everyone in the movement. It's no different on the political level where Biden is. You know, he has to try to find a way to work with people and make things work. But I wouldn't just go out. If I was him, I would seek people in the Republican Party that closely think the same way I do. Okay, you know, the Trump supporters, they just don't seem to be in the same frame of mind as everyone else, the majority in this country. So I would definitely. I mean, I don't really know how.
Are you surprised that 70 million people voted for Trump after what he's done to?
No, I'm not surprised. I believe that the basis ideology of this country for hundreds and hundreds of years has been racist, has been homophobic, you know, and you know, you're seeing the results of that. You're seeing the results of generations of people being raised under these kind of ideologies, which is a testament of what you're seeing. It's not an accident. I'm also not surprised that 74 million people voted against him so far. I'm not surprised at that either. You know, and if you notice, the people who vote for democracy and for people to be equal and no racism and Black Lives Matter and that kind of thing, those people always outnumber the other people, which is the only shining good sign. You know, but we have to start admitting in this country where our faults are and where our positives are. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of damage has been done in this country over these past 400 years that we've never come to reckon with. You know, so that almost goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning. You know, about realizing where the road went wrong and admitting to it, and then doing something about it. Okay, doesn't really matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat. Doesn't matter what you are. The Democrats over the years have been just as bad to working people damn near as the Republicans. You know, it's a governmental system that is geared and fueled by racism and by not including certain peoples, whether it be black people, whether it be women, whether it be minorities as a whole. But this country has a lot of reckoning to do.